Right now, you're lying in bed. One hand is holding your phone. The other is pulling up the blanket. Deep down, you should be asleep. Your brain keeps reminding you, go to sleep. You have things to do tomorrow, but your thumb doesn't care. It just keeps scrolling. One more video, one more post, one more random fact. Before you know it, 3 hours are gone. And what did you learn? Maybe that sea otters hold hands while they sleep so they don't drift apart. Maybe you watched a couple argue online over a game of laser tag. Or maybe you saw a guy in the middle of a jungle building a swimming pool out of mud at 2 in the morning. Humans are surprisingly good at ruining their own sleep. But if we travel back 30,000 years, staying awake at night was a much bigger problem. Our ancestors weren't scrolling through endless content. They were trying to survive, because once the sun disappeared, danger came out of the darkness. Nighttime in the Stone Age was terrifying, and humans were not built for it. Compared to other animals, we were weak after sunset. Our night vision was poor. We had no claws, no sharp fangs, and we certainly weren't the fastest creatures around. Put a human alone in a dark forest 40,000 years ago, and they would be easy prey. Just a nervous, defenseless human surrounded by predators. And the darkness back then was very different from the darkness we know today. There were no streetlights, no houses glowing in the distance, no phone screens lighting up the room, only endless blackness stretching in every direction. There were no streetlights, no glowing windows, no screens lighting up the room, just complete darkness. The kind of darkness where you hold your hand in front of your face and can't even see it. And somewhere in that darkness were predators, wolves, hyenas, cave lions, maybe even hostile groups of humans. So before our ancestors could sleep, they needed protection. And their greatest weapon wasn't a spear, it was fire. Humans learned to control fire hundreds of thousands of years ago. And it changed everything. Fire wasn't just for cooking food. It gave light in the darkness. It provided warmth during cold nights. It kept insects away. And most importantly, it scared off many dangerous animals. In a way, it became humanity's first security system. But fire did something even more remarkable. It changed how people felt. Think about it. Even today, people can sit around a campfire for hours without getting bored. There is something calming about watching the flames dance. Scientists have found that staring at a fire can lower stress and help the body relax. That reaction may be ancient. For thousands of generations, fire meant safety. So whenever our brains saw those glowing flames, they received a simple message. We're safe for now. We survived another day. But fire gave humans something even more valuable: time. Before fire, darkness usually meant the end of the day. Once the sun disappeared, there wasn't much left to do. Daytime was already packed with work. People hunted animals, gathered food, made tools, built shelters. Simply staying alive took most of their energy. But at night, everything changed. Families and tribes gathered around the fire. For the first time all day, they could slow down. They could talk, think, laugh, share ideas, and tell stories. Many experts believe these moments helped shape human culture. The campfire became more than a source of light. It became a place where knowledge was passed down from one generation to the next. Stories taught lessons, explained dangers, preserved history, and sparked imagination. In many ways, those campfire stories were the Stone Age version of YouTube, Netflix, and Wikipedia all rolled into one. Back then, being a great storyteller came with real benefits. The people who told the best stories often earned more respect within the group. Everyone wanted to hear them speak. In a way, storytellers were the celebrities of the Stone Age. The only difference? Instead of posting videos online, they gathered people around a campfire. And instead of saying, "Don't forget to subscribe," their opening line was probably something like, "You won't believe what happened during today's hunt." But eventually, the stories ended. The fire burned lower, and it was finally time to sleep. So how did our ancestors do it? Most people imagine them sleeping directly on the ground, cold, uncomfortable, and full of insects. But the reality was much smarter than that. Archaeologists studying Sabudu Cave in South Africa discovered something surprising. They found bedding that was around 77,000 years old. And it wasn't just a pile of grass. It was carefully designed. The bottom layer was made of ash. That might sound strange, but it served several important purposes. It helped block the cold from the cave floor. It discouraged insects, and it reduced parasites that could hide in the bedding. Above the ash was a layer of grass and reeds. This created a softer surface to lie on. Then came the final layer, special leaves from plants that naturally repel insects. In other words, our ancestors were making mosquito-resistant mattresses tens of thousands of years ago. That's pretty impressive. Even today, with modern sprays and repellents, mosquitoes still seem impossible to defeat. But ancient humans understood the problem and came up with clever solutions. They also paid attention to cleanliness. When their bedding became old or dirty, they didn't simply shake it out. Sometimes they burned it completely. The fire destroyed insects, parasites, and harmful bacteria. Then they built a fresh sleeping area from scratch. It was Stone Age deep cleaning. Simple, but effective. But the most surprising part wasn't what they slept on. It was how they slept. The way most of us sleep today may not be as natural as we think. We often hear that a healthy night means sleeping for 8 hours straight. But for much of human history, people didn't sleep that way. Many historians believe that before the Industrial Revolution, humans often slept in two separate phases. First, they would go to sleep shortly after sunset. After around 4 hours, they would wake up in the middle of the night. And no, they didn't panic and search their symptoms online. For them, this was completely normal. They might spend an hour or two awake. Some talked with family, some prayed, some checked the fire. Others simply enjoyed the quiet hours of the night. Then they would return to bed and sleep until sunrise. This pattern was so common that people didn't think twice about it. Today, if you wake up at 3 in the morning, you might immediately assume something is wrong. But for thousands of years, waking up during the night was just part of life. Then everything changed. The Industrial Revolution brought factories, work schedules, alarm clocks, and strict routines. People now had to wake up at specific times every day. Slowly, sleep became compressed into one long block, and that pattern remains with us today. But here's something interesting. Your surroundings may be modern, but your brain is ancient. You live in a world of smartphones, Wi-Fi, and electric lights. Yet much of your nervous system still works the way it did thousands of years ago. Think about it. Why do so many people fall asleep listening to rain sounds? Maybe because, in the distant past, certain natural sounds signaled safety and comfort. Why do many people feel more secure sleeping near family or loved ones? Because humans evolved as social creatures who rarely slept alone. And why is it so hard to fall asleep after staring at bright screens late at night? Because your brain wasn't designed for artificial light at midnight. When it sees that bright blue glow, it receives a confusing message. Something like, "Wait a minute, the sun is still up?" And that's where many of our modern sleep problems begin. Today, we understand a lot about sleep. We know about dreams. We know about the brain. We know about psychology and neuroscience. But imagine living 40,000 years ago. Every night, something strange happened. You would close your eyes and disappear into another world, a world where the impossible felt real. You might see relatives who had died years ago. You might be chased by strange creatures. You might visit places that didn't exist anywhere on Earth. Then, a few hours later, you would wake up as if nothing had happened. Now imagine trying to explain that without science, without doctors, without psychology, without any understanding of how the brain works. It's easy to see why many ancient people believed dreams carried special meaning. To them, dreams weren't just stories inside the mind. They could have been messages, warnings, visits from ancestors, or journeys into another world. The boundary between dreams and reality wasn't always clear, and honestly, it's not hard to understand why. But here's the interesting part. Our ancestors lived in a world filled with danger. There were no hospitals, no security systems, no locked doors, no air conditioning, no comfortable mattresses, no modern medicine. Every day came with risks. Yet they followed the natural rhythms of the world around them. They slept when darkness arrived. They woke with the sunrise. Their lives moved with the seasons, the weather, and the cycle of day and night. Meanwhile, look at us. We live in the safest period in human history. We have warm homes, comfortable beds, climate control, medicine, electricity, and countless technologies designed to make life easier. Yet many of us still find ourselves lying awake at 2 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, thinking about work, scrolling through our phones, or replaying conversations that happened years ago. It's one of history's strangest ironies. The people with the fewest comforts often slept naturally, and the people with the most comfort sometimes struggle to sleep at all.